Hello, and welcome to Minerals, Rocks, and Fossil Talks. I'm your paleo teacher, Jen, and it's time for some Throwback Thursday. This is the most famous Tyrannosaurus rex in the world. You probably know her as Sue, but paleontologists call her FMNHPR2081. Okay, we call her Sue too, because that's a lot of things to try and remember. She was discovered in August of 1990 by this lovely volunteer, Sue Hendrickson, in South Dakota. In typical field fashion, it was the end of the field season, the crew was getting ready to leave, they're dirty, they're tired, they want to go home. However, the car had other plans and got a flat tire. Story of my field life. While waiting for the tire to be fixed, Sue opted to wander up to the hills they hadn't explored yet. Lo and behold, she stumbled upon some bones at the base of one of the cliffs and followed them up like a good prospector would. Up above in the cliff, she found larger bones protruding out. Jackpot. She brought the smaller pieces back to the head paleontologist, Pete Larson, and he determined that they came from a tyrannosaur based on contour and texture. It soon became apparent that most of the dinosaur was still intact. In fact, Sue is so famous because she is 90% complete by bulk and 73% complete by elements, which is crazy for something so large. So in this photograph, you can see all the bones that are highlighted are real bones, her actual fossils. Her skull, on the other hand, is too heavy to mount without needing a lot of extra support, so they actually have it housed in a separate case where it's a little easier for researchers to come and study. So most of her is intact. Now, there was a huge legal battle that surrounded Sue's ownership. She had been found on land that belonged to Maurice Williams, whom the Black Hills Institute had gotten permission from to excavate on the land. He claimed that they only paid to excavate and clean the bones, but that he wanted them back so that he could sell them. On top of that, he belonged to the Sioux tribe, and the Sioux tribe claimed that it belonged to the tribe. However, the property that she was found on was held in trust by the U.S. Department of the Interior, so the government claimed it belonged to them as well. Talk about mind-boggling problems. And then, of course, with government involvement, things went to hell in a handbasket pretty quick. In the end, Williams retained ownership and decided to sell Sue at auction. Concerned it would end up in a private collection, never to be seen by science again, the Field Museum in Chicago asked for help from various companies in getting money to buy Sue. And with a lot of help, the Field Museum was able to procure the fossil for far too much money, and she now resides there for public view and for scientists to be able to study her. Whew. Sue has been determined to have been between 27 and 33 years old when she died, with more evidence leaning towards the 33. This makes her the oldest known Tyrannosaurus rex currently published. She also suffered quite a bit in her lifetime, not quite to the extent of like poor Big Al the Allosaurus, but enough. She had a broken right shoulder blade and a torn tendon in her right arm. She had 3 broken ribs and suffered osteomyelitis in her left fibula and a couple of her caudal vertebrae. So that's an infection of the bone. She also had some arthritis in her tail from an injury and possibly gout. A 2009 study suggested she even suffered from an ancestral form of Trichomonas gallinae, a parasite that infests birds and ultimately leads to death due to internal swelling of the neck. So basically they starve to death. We don't know if that caused her to die or if there was something else. We don't know what her cause of death was, but she was suffering from a lot of different infections and things like that, the poor thing. Sue is approximately a little over 40 feet long and about 12 to 13 feet tall at the hip, making her one of the largest Rex specimens out there, if not the largest. There's some debate over whether Scotty is bigger or not. And of course, Sue just can't stay away from controversy. In 2022, Gregory S. Paul and his co-authors argued that Tyrannosaurus was actually split into 3 separate species. They would have been T. imperator, T. rex, and T. regina. They believed that Sue was the holotype for T. imperator. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, however you want to view it, most other paleontologists specialized in tyrannosaurs were unconvinced and thought their arguments were weak, so nothing's actually changed in the literature. She is still just a really big Tyrannosaurus rex, a really old Tyrannosaurus rex, and simply a Tyrannosaurus rex. Now, we've had a pretty good dose of Sue, and I hope you enjoyed what you read today. And if you liked that, tune in tomorrow to learn about one of her New Mexican cousins. And I will fossilize you later.